Does it ever feel like life is asking you to grow? And sometimes it feels like it's constantly asking you to grow. Not loudly, not all at once, sometimes loudly, sometimes all at once, but it's often in subtle and persistent ways. You get an intuitive nudge about something you want. You have a quiet inner knowing that something needs to change. You have a whisper of a big leap or a big move you want to make. And then before long, you're face to face with that discomfort. You're face to face with choices. And are we going to do it? Are we going to move through? Are we going to speak our voice? Are we going to implement the boundaries? Sometimes it's things we feel like we almost can't escape. Sometimes just by existing, especially once you're awake, especially once you're conscious and aware of self-growth. It feels like you're in a constant growth spiral, like life is constantly asking you to expand. So if you can relate to that, this episode is for you. It's almost like there's always the next edge, the next layer, the next invitation. And maybe you've wondered before, does this ever stop? Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. My name is Talia Joy, and today we are here to talk about something that sits at the heart of our self-growth and our transformation. The fact that you are constantly being asked to grow through what you go through. And we're going to talk about this from a few different levels, as always. The self-growth level, we're even going to get into neuroscience and the nervous system a little bit, as well as how our soul is asking us to grow, how life is asking us to grow. And this episode is inspired by chapter 7 of my new book, The Delicate Art of Transformation. The chapter is called Being Asked to Grow, and it's a really good one to talk about because just like I've been talking about in the previous episodes, once you're aware of this pattern and how life is asking you to grow, you can make sure to not shame yourself. You can go into it with tools. You can know that, yeah, we are up against another growth edge. And yes, you've dealt with this before, but it's also normal for us to continually grow through what we go through. So I'm really excited for this episode. And as I just mentioned, my book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, is now available. It is so good. I'm so excited. It has actually already been delivered to some of you. I'm getting pictures. I'm getting messages. Oh my gosh, this is really real. I'm so excited. You can grab it below. And in just 48 hours since it's been released, we are at number 49 in one of the listings on Amazon. I think it's New Age Self-Help or something is the category. We are number 49. They display the top 200 every day, and we are number 49 because of the support in the last 48 hours. So please order your copy if you have not already. It makes a difference more than you know, as well as following that up with a review. It goes so far, especially in these first few days and weeks. It really shoves the book through the algorithm, makes sure that it gets in the hands of more people. And thank you so much for all the support you've already given me. It's literally a dream come true. I'm going to go through a whole episode mentioning, talking about the process of writing the book and all of this stuff for those of you that are interested in that stuff. But for now, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It means so much. It's such a good book and it's definitely going to help you. All right. So with that, let's dive into today's episode. So we're taught that growth is linear. In fact, we're taught that most things are linear. Because we have time and space in a way as a human, we're taught that, if we follow these steps, this will be the end result. Or we take a program to do something or to move through something or for training, and there's a beginning and a middle and an end. However, with self-growth, it's not really the same linear process as what other things feel like. There's not really a moment where you quote unquote arrive, because as you've noticed in your own growth, there may be things where you did achieve, you did manifest, you created that business or you hit the income goal, but there's always something else calling you forward. So you might be in a pocket of manifesting your dreams when it comes to money or your career, but you're still yearning to find love, or you're learning how to love your body, or you're on also a health or fitness journey, right? So we might manifest the thing. We might become that one version of us that has achieved that thing. And hopefully you do. Hopefully we are all stepping into these dreams, these goals, these future realities. However, it's not like we ever really get there. We don't really arrive, in my perception, because life doesn't work like that. Life and growth and this experience, in a way, is a spiral. There will be similar themes and we'll revisit things, wounds around money or relationships or trust, or as I mentioned, health, any of these areas of life, not because we fail or we're doing anything wrong, but because we're being asked to meet these areas of our life from a deeper level or from a different perspective. So that's the whole point, as I've said in previous episodes recently. If we're going to therapy or we're doing self-growth, the actual point underneath it all is not just to go to therapy forever necessarily. It's to move through things. So we want to grow through what we go through so that we can no longer be held back by that thing, or so that we can know what to do to achieve this certain goal, or so that we can build the thing that we see in our mind's eye, right? So we revisit similar themes, money, relationship, trust, worthiness, or patterns with things, not because we're failing, but because we're being asked to meet these things from a different perspective. So in a way, growth is like a spiral. Each pass through the spiral asks something new of you. And there's a quote out there in the self-growth community, you may have heard it, they say new level, new devil. And I don't like to think about it as devil, but if we just know that life is a continual, evolving, malleable experience, and as we overcome some things, then we're being whispered into our next level in a different way, as I'm mentioning, right? So we may revisit certain things. We may have an income goal and then we get there and now we want a little bit more, and that's okay. Sometimes life is asking us to heal. Sometimes it's asking us to act. Or sometimes it's asking us to let go. Sometimes it asks us to rest. But always through all of that, it's asking you to grow. It's asking you to evolve. And that, from my perspective, will never end. If you consider yourself, I mean, you wouldn't be here if you weren't, but if you consider yourself a seeker or into self-growth, into always becoming better or more aware, happier, more peaceful, more healthy, all these things, you will be doing this forever, and that's a blessing. So we are always on the edge of the next thing, and that doesn't mean we're endlessly chasing. There's a different conversation we could have about not chasing always the next thing, and that could be appropriate in that lens as well, because we want to be here now. However, when it comes to growth, we're kind of always expanding. So we're always on the edge, of the next thing, whether that's a new level of self-love or a new level of boundaries, or maybe it's a new level of health or abundance or these things we're mentioning. So because we are always on the next level of, say we have desires to communicate better, and we're learning how to do that more. We're practicing that more. We're being aware of when we want to shut down or something. That discomfort is a signal that you're on the edge of expansion. So because you may be wanting to communicate better, then the opportunity in life is going to come up. A family member, a thing at work, your lover or partner, something's going to come up where inside you're going to be like, okay, this is the opportunity to communicate better, to speak your mind. And that discomfort in that moment is the signal that you're on the edge of expansion. Does that make sense? So as I'm speaking, as always, I'm channeling, but right now especially, I'm taking my time with words because I want to make sure that I'm describing it in a way that feels accurate when it comes to how growth and how this experience works. So much of this is what I receive from my channel. So anyway, the discomfort is the signal that you're on the edge of expansion, and we are always expanding. So if you're in the goo, things feel messy, they feel unclear, or maybe like we're being dismantled or it's falling apart. You might be in the shift where you're integrating new habits, new choices, new ways of being, and that's not always easy. Or maybe you're in a rebirth where life is asking you to step into being a bigger person for yourself, or to be on stage, or something even bigger. All of these are different phases, but the same invitation. Life is always asking you to grow. Growth doesn't stop when things get better. It's just like health doesn't stop if you achieve the goal, right? It just changes form. Growth is always changing form. The seasons always fold into each other. Life is more a spiral than a, linear experience. And most people get stuck here because they think that once they've grown, they should feel good. Or we come up against these looping patterns, as we talked about in a recent episode previously, and we think that we shouldn't be coming up against this, or I already dealt with this. I already dealt with my money blocks. Why is this thing coming up? Because you're always being asked to grow. Always, always, always. And it's not fun, and it's not comfortable, and not all of life is comfortable. Being brave isn't comfortable. But life, if you kind of almost accept and drop your shoulders and go, okay, life is always going to ask me to grow. There is no there. Then it starts to go like, okay, after we kind of move through like, oh, and then we kind of go, okay, if life is always asking us to grow, then we're always saying yes to our next level. And sometimes we're called to read a certain book. Sometimes we're called to take a course or go back to therapy, or, take up running or something different. But no matter what it is, we are always being asked to grow and evolve. In your healing, in your nervous system, in your capacity to receive, in how you show up for what you say you want, you are always being called to grow. And there's this part where my team shows me how it's up to you how, quote unquote, far you make it in this journey as far as toward your goals, because you're always being asked to grow. And depending on how, not fast, but how quickly you just say yes to things, like, okay, I'll do this, and okay, I'll start that, and okay, I'll listen, you can exponentially grow very fast, which is also manifesting, receiving more, stepping into the bigness of who you are. So you're always being asked to grow, and it's almost like something that once you start saying yes, there are infinite opportunities to quantum leap every single day. Discomfort is not just a sign that you're off track. It's the exact place that is asking you to grow. It's where growth is happening. Because even if you made a decision that really doesn't feel right and you would consider yourself off track, that discomfort is asking you to grow. That discomfort is asking you to go, hello, something is not right here. So whether you're off track or on track or whatever, you're always being asked to grow. And this is the part I want to talk about the body for a second. When we are being asked to grow, which is all the time, your nervous system will find that scary. It challenges the identity we have for ourselves. It challenges where our nervous system lies and where it feels comfortable, and we basically put it into a zone that feels uncomfortable. Any growth edge expansion is just scary to our mind, to our body, all of it. So we can have grace and understanding in that process. When you're being asked to grow, there is uncertainty. What if it doesn't work? What if I go here and, it unpacks something that I never get over? Or what if I'm not brave enough to do this? Or what if it's too scary? What if it flops? What if nobody buys it? There's always fear, the potential for fear in the unknown. So it's unfamiliar. It threatens our old identity, or it challenges our identity. And your body wants to contract. Part of you may want to shut down. When we are on that growth edge, when it's feeling uncomfortable. Part of us wants to shut down. Part of us wants to avoid. Part of us wants to go, never mind, I'm not going to do it, and put it off for another day. If you feel fear, resistance, doubt, it doesn't mean stop. It means slow down, regulate, get resourced, stay present. You're on the verge of something huge. And this is where your tools matter. Not to avoid growth, but to stay open inside it, to be moving through it, to know that you're not doing anything wrong. You're actually just continually being asked to grow. So you've heard me say forever, grow through what you go through. And this is truly about not skipping phases, not just trying to quantum leap from A to Z with nothing in between. You don't grow by skipping phases. You grow by moving through them consciously. You grow by moving through what you're going through with tools. As I always used to talk about her work, right? As she would, that version of you who is expanded, who is the higher self, or you in the future that has moved to the other side of this thing you're dealing with. That version of you, they move through life through a different lens, maybe more consciously, more expansive, more in their knowing. So we don't grow by skipping through the phases. We grow by moving through them and shifting how we respond to life. So if you're in the goo and it asks you to surrender, this is the time to release the grip, to let go, to know that clarity will come and it's okay to goo right now. If you're in the shift, it's asking you to practice. Practice what you've been learning, practice the tools, practice showing up for yourself. Momentum is happening, shifts are happening. If you're in the rebirth, it's asking you to say yes to your next level, to use this higher perspective to your advantage and know that you'll be moving through the process again in a different area of life. But this time you can meet it with more tools and the spiral continues. There's no final destination. It's asking you to evolve. So when your nervous system wants to shut down, when it feels really scary, just slow down for a second, use your tools, regulate your system, go for a walk outside, wiggle it out, dance it out, punch it out. If you have energy within you, move it, shake it, move it through you, get to the other side of that sensation of fear and wanting to shut down, breathe, even take like a day off or whatever you need to do. Fear is real. Your nervous system shutting down is a very real thing. So we need to relax. We need to keep breathing. And then when we move to the other side of that reaction, then we take another action. And then we get resourced. We shake it through. We go, oh my goodness. We take a moment and then we take another action. We continue to grow through what we go through. And we stop asking ourselves what's wrong with me or what's the right answer. And we can start asking, what is life asking of me now? So we can inquire, what is life asking of me now? To be more self-trusting, to be more embodied, to be more willing, to be more resourced, to do that thing that's been on your mind. What is life asking of you now? Because our job and the path, our highest path, is when we say yes to the spiral of growth. When we stop saying, I thought I'd be past this by now, and why am I here again? You're not stuck in a loop. You are in a spiral. So sometimes when you wrap back around in that spiral, it feels familiar, but you're not actually back where you were. Even if we are going to play human for a second, on our timeline, there's no such actual thing as going backward. We say, oh, I'm back here again. Oh, I'm slipped back into. No, we can be in familiar patterns and feel that, but you are never actually going backwards. So instead of saying, I thought I was past this, or why does life keep challenging me to do this? Because it's asking you to grow through what you go through. Life keeps slapping you with the same circumstances. Sometimes my clients say things like that, right? Why is this like, oh my God, it's so annoying? It's because it's asking you to meet those circumstances in your higher consciousness, more resourced, more self-trusting, more embodied, whatever it is that you're going through. Life is asking you, here's the kicker, the cosmic kicker. Life is asking you to grow because you are capable of it. Your soul is asking you to grow because there are things you say you want. There are experiences to be had. There are dreams on your heart. That's why life is asking you to grow. And even deeper on a soul level, because you asked for this, but we won't get into that here. But you asked for this life of a full expression. one of healing and growth and experiences and pleasure and abundance and meaning. So yeah, life is asking you to grow because you're capable of it, because you are meant for it, and because it's time to start saying yes to the things you want. It's time to listen to the nudges. It's time to keep meeting yourself in honesty and discomfort and tools and really grounding down and implementing that work, being that version of you now, saying yes to the things you want, meeting the old things from a new perspective, and knowing that you are ascending in your spiral. And it's very exciting. You grow through what you go through. You keep moving forward. You are not meant to arrive. You're meant to become. And you're becoming over and over and over again. So when you feel like you're on the edge of growth, you are. When you feel like things are scary, they are. When you feel like your body wants to shut down, it's because it does. But it's because you are walking the path of growth and expansion, and it is not easy. I have a lot of clients and friends that are entrepreneurs. It is not easy. It looks glamorous, but it's not easy. You see people that fitness and health are their life. It's not easy. It takes commitment. It takes showing up again. It takes, doing these things. Life isn't easy. However, when you grow through what you go through, when you tap into what's aligned for you, when you listen to the nudges, when you say yes to the things that are on your heart, then you will live the life of your fullest expression, the one that you signed up for, the life you see in your mind's eye that looks like your vision board of, harmonious relationships and freedom and confidence and purpose and meaning and loved ones and all those things that are on your heart. That is the life that you are meant for. And how we get there is by growing through what we go through, by continually choosing growth, choosing to be it, choosing to meet this edge, get resource, get some help, move on to the next level, meet that edge, and then push yourself and, have a little pep talk, maybe heal some things that have been coming up and keep going. You won't arrive, but in the same way, you're already here. You're already growing. You're already ascending. You're doing it. So keep saying yes to what you want. Know that you are growing because you are capable of it. Life is, whether you want to say testing or challenging or calling you into some scary dream you have in your mind's eye, it's only asking you to do this because you are ready for it and capable of it. And 2026 is a powerful year. Time for change. All right, my friend, I am rooting you on. Make sure to grab a copy of my book. The link is in the show notes, and please leave a review. And if you're feeling extra generous, a review on the book and a review on the podcast. Pretty please, tee-hee. Okay, thank you so much. That got super weird. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode. I am here with you in this. And if you want to reach out privately and talk about private mentorship in 2026, I would love to talk about how we could connect and move you forward. Okay, my love, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode.